Right, everybody. Today was a little bit impromptu. Last week never happened because I was meant to be doing the world's fastest zip wire, and the day before it got flipping cancelled, which was a real shame because I was hoping to say to you all, I survived. I managed to do the mile at 100 miles an hour, but it never came off. Evidently, there was two storms came in. They do them in alphabetical order, don't they? So we never got to go. But instead, my other half and I decided that we'd make the most of it and booked the day off. So we did what any sensible person would do at this time of year and went Christmas shopping. And put some money on the cashback card, as you do. Actually, just before we get going, I just want to say to everyone, I'm always fascinated at some of the comments on the partner forum, the UW partner forum. It is absolutely fascinating. And I do wonder how some people, what they pick up. Have they got a good sponsor that's kind of like explaining to them how brilliant the cashback card is? Because to hear some folk, it's like, oh no, I wouldn't have that and I wouldn't have that. And I think you're missing a trick. You know, my everyday spending throughout the year amounts to eliminating the cost of my electric. That's, why wouldn't you want to? It's, I've got free electric. To me, it's just like, wow, how good is that? So I absolutely do advocate our cashback card. I think it is what makes us absolutely unique. I don't believe there's any other utility type company out there that has this. In fact, I'm sure they haven't, and you can eliminate the cost of your services. So, right. Today it's all about chatting. Let me just have a look. Somebody's put a message. Lisa, do you not have WhatsApp on your laptop? Yes, I do, but I've taken it off. It's not on there at the moment. Right. Impromptu conversations. Okay, because every single day at some point, most days, we have a chance to engage with people. Now, I'm going to emphasize that I've talked about this before. It's not necessarily about selling utility warehouse. In fact, I think if you do that, you'll probably get nowhere. It doesn't mean that you can't mention it, but it's got to be done right. And there is the most astonishing chap called Alan Pease. And amongst many books with his wife, he wrote an incredible book, very simple to read, called Questions Are the Answers. Mm-hmm. And he also produced a CD, which I don't think do we listen to CDs these days? God. Anyway, it's still brilliant. And essentially what he's saying overall is that if you show a genuine interest in somebody else, what will actually happen is they won't be able to usually help themselves and they will want to ask you something back. So I'm going to give you exact examples, all right? And then hopefully that's relatable. So last Sunday, just gone, a couple of days ago, we were invited to a neighbour's afternoon Christmas, I call it a soiree. It was 2 hours. It was 3 till 5. It was in the big house. I think these people, that home's worth about 2.5 million. It was gorgeous. I didn't even realise they had a indoor heated swimming pool because it's all walled. But as it happens, Jill and her husband Kev, they're lovely people. They are really nice, down to earth. They've obviously just worked incredibly hard and made their money. And all of us in the area, and there's not many, Birch Close, which isn't the name of a road where we live, it's a hamlet. There's only 7 properties. All right, so that's why I say I live in the middle of nowhere now. And although she's my neighbour, it's still a fair old distance. Okay, but we did walk there, and she laid on the most lovely afternoon. She'd made homemade mulled wine. You know, there was all the usual fare, cheese, bickies, grapes, all that kind of stuff. And a chance to get to know the neighbours. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another word for networking in a very informal capacity. So I was absolutely delighted to be invited, and I knew exactly what my intentions were. So let's explain. I wasn't going to go there and start spouting off utility warehouse. That would have got me nowhere. But once the preliminary, I can't say it, preliminary, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, there was one lady that absolutely blew me away. And I've now found out she lives in one of the huge houses up the road called Little Charlton. And it's not very little, it's big. And this lady is 84 years old, going on 16. You meet some people in life and they just exude vigor, energy, and there's no way she's got one foot in the grave, even though she said it. There was no way. And I was just quite taken aback with her. She was German. She spoke impeccable English. And like you would do, you would kind of just take a genuine interest. And I was actually genuinely interested in her. And I asked all kinds of questions like, how long had she lived here? How did she get to be here? She told me when her late husband died and who she knew, that she went to a gym twice a week, leaves the house at 6 in the morning, comes home about 8:30 on a Saturday and a Monday. Quite formidable for an 84-year-old, wouldn't you say? Yeah. And so I just kept asking questions, but not in a fashion, I must point out, that was nosy. You know, like a kind of a genuine, you know, gosh, you're in, and I was interested, and Juan was interested as well. Anyway, it then transpired, I can't say how long, it could have been 15, 20 minutes that I asked her questions and she talked. And then she turned around and said, oh, enough about me. Lisa, what do you do then? Isn't that the most normal kind of question that people ask? It is, isn't it? It's just, you know. And I said, oh, Renata, I said, that's an interesting question. I said, it's a bit boring to talk about it somewhere like here. She said, oh, no, I'm most interested. What do you do? She said, because I see you flying around. One minute you're in a Range Rover and the next minute you're in a little Mini. And it says on it something about a house. That's how much notice she has taken. And I said, well, actually, I said, I tell you what I do. Now, please get ready to write this down. I said, Renata, I mostly show people how to get to financial stability. But I said, the other side of the coin for a number of years has been reducing businesses and residential homes bills. And I said, I teach others how to do that too. And she said, oh, what kind of bills? She said, car insurance? Oh, I said, no, not those. I said, you know, those boring essential services that we don't really want to pay for. I said, like electricity and broadband and phone and mobiles. I said, all that kind of thing. I said, actually, home insurance too. I said, the company that I recommend to people have been doing it for a very long time, but they work very differently. It's so clever. They don't advertise, so they naturally can pass on incredible savings to us, the customers. And she went, oh, so how do you get your custom? I said, funny enough, I said, it's through word of mouth. I said, one happy customer telling another how delighted they are. I said, it's usually the way that we kind of will get hold of a trade, isn't it? If we need a plumber or if we need a chippy. I said, we usually want somebody that someone we know can recommend. And she said, oh, yes, I absolutely agree. So she said, are you a customer then? I said, oh, yeah, for 19 years. I said, I could never be with anyone else because there's no other company actually can do what they do. She said, oh, in what kind of way do you mean? I said, well, it's a given that they literally offered better price services. I said, that's a given. But I said, what they do so differently is incredible customer service through often a person that you already know or somebody that's recommended to you. And I said, they kind of act a bit like a PA and they look after you. I said, you don't get that with other companies. And I said, also, customers constantly feedback. They love the one bill, the one direct debit, the one password. And I said, they also love the fact that when you spend money every day on all the usual things that you do, that bill is reduced further. And I said, it means it sometimes eliminates the cost of your services. And she turned to me and she said, how do you mean? I said, well, we've got a card, a bit like a debit card. I said, it's just that you load this account up with money and you can't go overdrawn, but it's chip and pin as normal. And I said, every time I spend money, absolutely anywhere, I said, I get the money the next month instantly come off my bills. And I said, for me, it's eliminated the cost of my electric. And she went, fascinating. Wow. Now, in my earlier days, I'm going to be honest with you all, I'd have messed up here. I would have been in there like a shot, trying to talk to her about it. But at that point, I said, do you know, Renata, that's enough of me. And I said, how about Juan here? And so Juan was saying he was a builder. That's the way to do it. You are sowing seeds for the next encounter. Now, she could have turned around and said, oh, I'd be very interested. And I would have said, well, it's probably not the time or place now. But do you know what, Renata, I can take your number and at another time, shall I give you a call and come and show you? Now, there is going to be a point, because she lives just up the road and I pass Little Charlton all the time, I'm going to go and drop a Christmas card into her. And I won't just put it through the door. I shall purposefully knock the door and have a little chat again and sow another seed. Now, that's the way we do stuff. And what happened as we gradually went round that little party, bit by bit, people ask you, and that's what you do. And that actually is networking. Now, it's not in the face networking, but it's kind of it's a nice kind of networking because you really get to know people. And if anybody, I know that Annette was, who else watched the mastermind event at the weekend? Yes, it was stunning, wasn't it? Absolutely stunning. And Claire Hingott, I think she did us proud for Utility Warehouse. She really did. And she said so many things that I thought over the years, it's what I've been shouting from the rooftops. You know, we are relationship building. That's what we do. We build solid relationships, caring relationships. And from that, what will come is honestly people that are genuinely interested. If one goes into a networking situation, be it business, BNI, whatever it may be, if you go in there with the whole purpose of getting your card out there and selling, you will get absolutely nowhere. You will actually get a horrible reputation, a very bad one. And so it's always about building relationships. Now, what I've done there is gone into some depth about a scenario, but there are so many other instances where we can sow seeds. So actually, I've just done one. On my return journey, I dropped in at the Tesco's petrol station to pick up carton of milk for Juan. And it was brief, to say the least, because I was on a run to get back for here. So it wasn't petrol, it was in, get the milk, and then over to the assistant. And I said to the chap, oh, I missed you there. I said, he said, is there petrol? I said, no. I said, but just the milk. To which he said, here it is, do you have a club card? Now, the milk was £1.15, I'm going to tell you, okay? And I said, yes, I do. But I said, in reality, I'm not that bothered about getting a couple of points. I said, what I do care about all the time is I use this. And out I got my cashback card. I said, every time I spend money, this is worth its weight in gold. It gives me money off the cost of my services at home. To which he said, wow, really? I said, yeah, everywhere, not just at Tesco's. I said, not just in the supermarket. I said, when I get my car serviced, when I fill up with fuel, when I do pay and display car parks. Gosh, he said, I'd like one of those. Aha, here we go. In the old days, what would I have done wrong? I'd have given him a card. I didn't. I said, oh, gosh. And I purposely did this business. And this is what I've learned off Wes. I said, oh, I've not got a card on me. I said, I tell you what, let's take your name and your number and I'll drop you some details. He said, oh, yeah, please. And I just gave him my phone, quick contacts, and he put it in there. It was seconds. And I went, oh, Joe. I said, lovely. I'll put Joe Tesco's if that's all right, because otherwise I'll never remember. And he went, yeah. I said, I'll send you some information about it. I said, Joe, I'll tell you what, better still, why don't I give you a call and actually explain it? He said, oh, I'd love you to. I said, I'll tell you what, it won't be tonight. But I said, when's the best time to call you? And he said, oh, could you call me tomorrow afternoon? I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. To which the lady sat to the back of him, the other cashier, she went, that sounds good. And he said, oh, I'll tell you all about it when this lady talks to me. Was that a good little encounter? Now, I'm going to say this to you. Yeah, it would be nice to get another customer. Of course it would. But actually, you know what? When I ring it, I'm going to say, Joe, can I ask you, working as a cashier at Tesco's, is that your passion? Now, I don't think it's going to be honest. I would say more than likely, it's possibly something he does part-time and he probably does something else, or he does it because there's nothing else at the moment. Opportunities are hard out there, aren't they? And I will have a chance. I will phone him at a reasonable time and say, right, have you got half an hour, Joe? And I will interview him. I will interview him and ask him what is his passion, and I will get him talking loads and find out what's going on. You see, that was, I think, the full extent that I could have been in front of him was 3 minutes, but it was enough to get his name and number. So all the time we are in situations where we can do something, but we often don't think about doing it. And years ago, and I'm just going to be honest here, I used to hear a very formidable character who's an NNL called Jimmy Chapman. And I used to hear that Jimmy basically, well, he spoke to absolutely everybody. And I used to sometimes think, don't you ever have a moment off? But actually, when you get to the point of being relaxed and all you're doing is showing an interest in someone else, it actually becomes quite a pleasurable activity. And you're relaxed and you're not nervous and you're not sort of like, oh, what do I say next? But you've got to actually do it a lot before it becomes like that. And I'm going to be honest with all of you. it's taken me a long time to get to that situation. Now, it doesn't mean that every encounter brings forth somebody, because it often doesn't. And in fact, still, if I look at all the people that I've signed up as partners, the funny thing is for me, most of them have come from existing customers. Now, that isn't the same with everybody else, but it's I suppose you could say, for me, I feel very comfortable because I love the idea that once somebody genuinely sees the savings, they can have that feeling of confidence and integrity that they're doing something good for someone else. Does that kind of make some sense? Whereas I know lots of people will be prospecting purely for partners with the approach of, well, if they don't become a partner, they can always become a customer. And I know that that's also good. It's just, it's never sat as comfortable with me. So I want to shut up now, and I would like you to unmute, and I'd like you to engage and perhaps ask questions, because that's the way that I can get a feel if there's stuff you want to know, because I've just given you some instances, all right? Because I could keep repeating those, but there's no point in doing that, because there is a formula that I run to, which is always a similar thing, which is I'm out to find out about the other person, and that's what I've learned. So who would like to ask a question? Yes,
well,
Lindsay.
Well, not ask the question, just a comment. You almost every week, Lisa, you tell us about these sort of stories where you meet people, and you just happen to meet the people who live in a 9-bedroom house, and you just happen to meet the people who are eager to do something. I don't know how it happens to you, and it's not happening to us, unless you're picking up on the signs and we are not picking up on signs.
Okay, I'm going to say this to you. I have made it my absolute sole goal to emphasize and work with people that are successful. So I know that if we go for people in large homes, they generally are successful in life. They generally work very hard to get that. I don't believe a lot of people just inherit this stuff. They don't. They honestly don't. And an interesting scenario today on the partner forum, there was I'm assuming a young lady who made a comment in something else, stating that she chooses as a partner to have prepay gas and electric. Now, I find that quite fascinating. Why would you choose to have prepay? Okay, what I was trying to point out to her was, well, if you do that, firstly, you're paying more. You all know that, don't you? Yeah, you know that you will pay more. It's a fact. Secondly, Utility Warehouse have told us quite clearly over the years, they're not our target market. Now, I know she's a partner, but how much more difficult for her to be able to show someone the bill and say, oh, look, my spending has taken away, say, half of my electric. She can't do that because she hasn't even got it on the bill. And then when someone says to her, oh, where's your gas and electric? Oh, I choose to have prepay. For me, that's just incongruent. So what I'm now getting to is, who signed up that person, that partner? And that person that signed up that partner, what did they not explain that would be better for that partner to earn more money, to have the confidence that what you're doing is great? You know, I show my bill to everyone and I keep it updated. I don't just show an old one, because I show people that it's slightly different depending on what my monthly spend is. I very rarely ever show my January bill because it's almost wiped out from all the Christmas shopping. And I believe that people would go, oh my God, I'd never spend that much money. So I try and keep it to ones where it's more realistic. And I know that Annette's kind of talked about that too, haven't you, Annette? You've said a similar thing. You know, if they see, I don't know, like Stuart showed 80 quid off his bill in cashback. Wonderful. I've had some of those, but I don't show those because if I do, I think it's unrealistic. I show the ones where I'm getting about 30, 35 pound a month, 40 pound a month. Yeah. Because when I show them the actual spends and all the spending, it can have more realism. And I believe that that's going to be the point that makes us unique, and they'll come on board. And if they believe in that, then they'll believe in being a partner. How can you believe in being a partner if you don't even want the gas and electric by direct debit? I'm confounded.
One of my leads when I'm talking about the cashback card is we get back on average about 30 quid a month. That's £360 over the year.
Yeah.
And actually, I then show them my bill and I show them my projected figure on my gas bill, which is £382 for the year. Who else can pay £22 a year for their gas?
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Guys, you should write that down. It is brilliant. That is so good, honestly. And this is why it's like when we engage in these little short conversations, I find that the cashback card is a brilliant way of doing that. I went up to Somerset a month ago to support Stuart Edmiston, the team up there, and I stayed over for 3 days. And on the second night, I went out with a couple of the team, Trish Widley, Susan Atkinson and Kathy Martin joined. And in fact, what I was doing, and I do this with anyone, treating them for a meal. Why not? Yeah. And I asked them to book somewhere nice. Now, what happened, and it was natural, it came to paying the bill. And in fact, the young waitress that served us was lovely. She had been really nice and attentive. The food was divine. And it came to paying the bill. And as she came over with the credit card machine, I got out my cashback card. And this is what I said to her. I said, you see, this is, we call this the magic card. I said, because we've just eaten a great meal and I'm going to pay with it. And I'm now going to get some cash back. And that's going to come off the cost of our services, which we all use the same company. She went, oh, that's clever. I said, yeah, but I said, that is clever. But I said, do you know what's even more cleverer? She said, what's that? I said, do you know what royalty income is? She went, no. I said, oh. I said, well, I'll tell you what it is. I said, you know, you've spent this evening amongst others serving us. And I said, now imagine this. So you've served us once, and now imagine that for years to come, you earn between £3 and £5 every single month for doing that activity once. Would that be of interest to you? She went, oh, yeah. How on earth can you do that? I said, oh, it's clever stuff. I said, look, it's not the time or the place now. I said, I tell you what, why don't I take your name and number and I'll send you a 2-minute video? And she went, oh, yeah. And I saw Trish right in the corner of my eye doing her best not to laugh her head off. Sue Atkinson was also like, oh, I don't believe she's doing this. But it was just a natural thing. So I got my phone out and her name was Sophie. And I put, Sophie, I'm going to put the railway because I said, that's where we are. And it will remind me, what's your mobile number? And she gave it to me. I've never had actually anyone ever say they won't give me their number, honest. So I then sent her 2 short videos. I sent her younger generations, and then I sent her the one that's hospitality, services. Now, as it happens, I followed up, but for her passion, by the way, I did find out, and Trish and Susan, you can ask Glenn, you can ask them. I found out that she actually wants to be a fashion designer, and that's what she really wants to do. And she did write back and said, it all sounds great, but do you know what? I really want to find a way of pursuing my passion, and I just want to do something that's simple. And I said, look, we'll keep in touch. I said, because sadly, I said, the way the government's going, this job of yours you've got at the moment may not pursue. And I said, you may be stumped. And I said, do you know what? Never ever close the doors to options. Anybody recognize that line? That's Big Al. He talks about people having options, doesn't he? So what I'll say to you is, I'm a plagiarist of the highest degree. There is nothing original about Lisa Ware. All right, I've learned a lot of skills and I just copy them. I put my own little personality and slant on it, but nothing else. Any other questions? Yes, Isabel.
Hey, Lisa, the girl in the paper shop that I use, she loves holidays. And I've sort of mentioned to her just read that what I do, all I've said is, you know, you can get free holidays. And I was wondering, what's the best way? I was thinking of maybe giving her the new brochure, but what would you send to her or give her to look at first? When it's really about the holidays. She's probably from I think the family are quite well off, you know, they've got loads, they own they're Pakistanis and they own a lot of convenience stores. Sure. And they all work very hard.
And they work very hard. Yeah. They always do. They don't care, do they? They're open all hours. I've seen it. Often working 7 days a week. What you need to do is the next time you go in is ask her, would she like more time? Because what may be is, yes, the money might be there, but they have to give up a lot of time to do that. And you've got to remember with that kind of thing, it is still the activity once, it's still linear money.
Yeah.
And if you were on Mastermind, Art Jonak gave us an absolutely amazing phrase, didn't he? Yes. Break the zero. Oh, wow. I was blown away by that. And I thought, do you know what? I've got to use that. I've got to get into I haven't quite had a moment yet to use it, but I will do, because I thought that's clever, isn't it? A great way of explaining, you know, that most jobs is just do the activity once, get paid once. Yeah, linear money. But I think break the zero was just like, whoa. So, well, look, guys, there's one more till Christmas. It's the 21st. What would you like to discuss next week? Come on. Yes, Lindsay?
Yes. How to prospect over the next 2 weeks when people say, oh, come back in the new year. Let's get Christmas done first and come back in the new year.
Am I the only one that's just had that a lot? I'll tell you what, if I had £1, every person that has said to me, oh, can we leave it till after Christmas?
Yeah.
You're not alone. All right, yeah. I think it's going to be a tough one now. The only people you're going to manage to take their time away from them for a short period are going to be the ones that all of a sudden it's become an urgent for them, because everybody is kind of clutching at what little time they have left, don't they, before Christmas Day. So I've had people postpone as well. All right, it's just the way it is. In fact, I'm stepping in for Sean there. Annette and I, Sean, we're doing Sunday.
Great, we're so pleased with that.
Yeah, well, we must be off our heads, the two of us, but we've both agreed. We've both agreed that what we're doing is we're prospecting for probably the new year.
But if you remember, Lisa, about 6 years ago, Paul Hines, when he just became senior group leader, or when he's on the way to senior group leader, got 12 customers in 1 December.
He did. It's about the amount of activity that you put in. It's how much activity. I went out last night at 7:30 and I put out 100 flyers, and I did it because They're no good sat in the boxes. And I actually wanted some exercise, and I actually felt like I wanted some exercise after dinner. Juan's going, oh, you can't go on your own at night in the dark. And I'm going, I'll be fine. Yeah, I know where I'm going. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, looking at all the pretty lights and everything. And I've just gone out and done a load again. Do you know what? If you put enough activity in, this is name awareness. What will happen at some point in the marketing world? They say it sometimes takes 7 touches before somebody will react and do something. So if you keep making your name known in your area, all of a sudden there will be a point when someone will talk to someone and it will happen. And I'm building up. I've moved to an area where, you know, nobody knows me. So there we are. I've got to grow.
Which leaflets did you put out, Lisa?
I've put out the everybody saves, but at the same time I'm putting out the partner prospecting flyer as well. I'm doing the 2 together.
What, at the same time? To
Yeah,
the
why
same
not?
property?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah. I just see it as a name awareness exercise. There'll come a point when all of a sudden someone will go, oh, because you never know. Some people do keep these things. I signed up a chap in November. This is absolutely true, so I must go. He kept my card in his wallet, he told me, for a whole year. And he signed up, he sent me a WhatsApp. I went to see him the next night, and within the space of 10 days, he put on 18 customers. So there you go. And he kept my card for a year.
Oh.
There you go. So this stuff, sometimes it comes back, maybe not immediately. Right, guys, lovely to see you all. And wish me luck. I'm going out for dinner and I'm out to prospect someone tonight. Who else is going to prospect?
Good luck. And I hope you go dinner.
Good luck, Lisa.
Nice to see you all.
Hmm.
And I will
Bye,
write in
everybody.
there what we do. Take care. Bye-bye.
Lisa, thanks. Bye.
Good much.
Thank you, Lisa.